Hello and welcome. Today I'll be talking about how to use assignments in ExactPath. This feature helps you find and deploy targeted remediation, enrichment, or just additional practice and reinforcement when you need it. I'll show you how to access and navigate the various areas where assignment creation is available within the program, and even take a quick look at what students see when you create an assignment. As a quick reminder, ExactPath is our K through 12 individualized learning solution and uses adaptive assessment data to auto-generate individualized learning paths for students. These digital assignments that I'm going to show you today go above and beyond the core of the program to provide greater flexibility for targeted just-in-time instruction. It's important to keep in mind, though, that these are an entirely optional feature that you can use just when you need it. So without further ado, let's dig in. So I have a couple of ways to access this feature. You can start from My Classes and go to the Assignments area, or head to the Assess and Teach tab under Priority Skill Lessons, and you can see Assign Items. If you are familiar with the former Content Search feature, this Assign Items area is exactly the same. It's just moved to a new location. Back on the home page, another way to access these two areas is from the Assignment Quick Links. I have search for resources, which is the same thing as the assign items that we just saw. And we also have here review assignments, which is the same as assignments. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start in assign items today, which I got to by navigating from assess and teach and then going to priority skill lessons. You can think about this assign items section as your global search area for all content that ExactPath contains. That includes learning path content as well as additional resources. So let's talk about how you can use this feature and what it offers. First thing here at the top, I can see that I have the option to search by skill or I can search by standard. Let's start with search by skill. So here I can start with these different features which allow me to move through a series of drop downs and make my selections down to choosing the specific skill. I can also use this keyword search right here. This keyword search is going to allow me to type in skills, things like fractions or decimals, whatever I'm trying to teach. I can also use the keyword search to type in the name of a specific piece of content. So if you see something in the student learning path and you want to search it in here, you can use those titles of the content and actually search those directly. On the search by standard tab, you have very similar options. The difference is going to be when you get down here to the domain and standard. It's the state domain you're going to be refining your search by, and then the actual standard. So I'm going to search by skill and make my selections. We'll do fifth grade reading and take a look at reading literature and summarizing literature. In this blue box at the top, I'm going to get details about the search that these filters returned for me. So we're going to see the domain and the skill statement, which is going to summarize what we're looking at, as well as the specific state standards that this skill is going to be aligned to. From there, if I scroll down just a little bit, I can see the content available in the learning path. There's a couple of important things to call out here. So first are these different content styles. For the first module, we see a K through 5th, the second one as well, and then here at the third, we've got a 6th through 12th grade content style. The reason you see these variations is because ExactPath actually provides two parallel curriculums which are meant to teach the same skills but using a different delivery to cater to those age groups appropriately. So the K through 5 content, for example, will include more animation, character dialogue, etc. And the 6th through 12th style will present a bit more of a mature interface, for example, tying in real life imagery into a lesson. Another thing to highlight here is we see learning path resource versus alternate learning path resource. So what does that mean? If students were to receive this skill in their learning path, they're going to get the learning path resource first. Only if they got a building block and needed to revisit the skill again would they see the alternate learning path resource in their learning path. So this makes it a great candidate for if I wanted to assign to a few students or the whole class. If I'm using this alternate resource, there are better odds that the students haven't yet seen that content at all. So those are a couple things to keep in mind. Below all of that, you have resource content here. This is content that goes above and beyond the learning path. Students will not see this content unless you assign it to them. And there are a number of different options available here. So first we've got videos. Videos provide additional instruction and guidance to the students. These can be great for individual assignments, or you could even use them as an additional direct instruction piece. Maybe you want to launch one and share it with your whole class or a small group, for example. Below that, we've got lesson idea, and I'm going to open up one here for you to take a look at. This is a resource specifically meant for the educator. It includes a warm-up activity, specific steps for instruction and independent practice, as well as strategies and tips to support advanced learners, struggling learners, and even English language learners as well. Below the lesson idea, we can see that ExactPath also includes worksheets for many skills, which provide a printable options for students to work on either in learning centers or at home as needed. And then finally, you may see an aligned topic from Study Island. If you also have a subscription to Study Island, you can access that topic for additional practice and reinforcement. It's really helping you connect the dots between those two programs to make the learning experience more powerful for your students. So now that we've reviewed all the different content found here, let's talk about actually assigning it. To start, you can simply hit Assign next to any particular piece of content. This will trigger a pop-up where you have the option to change the assignment title. So let's say I want to call this a July assignment. For students, you can set the start and end date. So let's say we want to give students about a week to finish this assignment, and then I can hit which class I want to select. From there, you can select all students, or you can choose to assign this to just a couple students. So after I've hit assign, I could actually go and see the assignment by clicking here, but I just want to remind that in order to reach that, you can also go to My Classes and hit Assignments. This is where the pop-up will be taking us. All right, so now we're here in the assignments docket. I'm actually going to click on a different assignment than the one we just created, one with some data in it so you can get a sense of what data is available to you from assignments. So I'm going to click through and you'll get this dashboard that gives you a summary of all of your students and where they're at in their activities. You'll be able to see when each student has started and completed their assignment, review their time on task. You can see if students are speeding through or taking their time on the assignment, as well as the status overall, whether they have not started, are in progress, or have completed the assignment, their score, of course, and then you'll be able to review actually how students did on their practice or mastery quiz. So for example, if I want to look into Shilpa's score, I can review her mastery quiz and see which questions she got incorrect and correct. So up to this point, we've gone over how to find content, create assignments, even review data. And I want to talk about where else in the program you can quickly create assignments from. It's actually embedded in a few places. So you can select any subject from the top. I'm going to select reading. Then I will go into either of the Learning Path data views, that is current activities and the knowledge map. I will click on the knowledge map. So I'm now in the knowledge map, but just want to quickly state that both of these areas are going to provide the same functionalities. So keep that in mind as I kind of walk through how you'll be able to access that assignments feature from here. So I might be scrolling through my knowledge map, monitoring my students and seeing how everyone's doing. And as I'm doing so, I might notice that one of my students, Caden, is struggling a little bit. I can see that he's received a building block for point of view. So given this building block, I know he's already been flagged to the teacher for needing some additional remediation. So it might be suitable for Caden to receive additional assignments. I'm going to click on Caden's building block, and when I do so, this drawer pops up for me. I'm going to toggle over to this resources tab where I can see all of the tools available, much like we saw over in the assign items area. So I can hover over a video, for example, and preview it, and then decide I'd like to assign Caden this video. And the same pop-up is going to appear here, except now I can see that it only selected Caden. So I'll select an end date, I'll hit assign, and there you have it. So I'm actually going to close out of this and show you one more spot where we can create assignments, and that is using the grouping tool, which can be found under My Classes. When I click on groups, I can see some recent groups I created based on skill performance in the learning path. I can now click on any of those similar ability groups and use the Create Assignment button to meet specific needs. So when I do hit that button, again, I'm going to get this modal. I can decide exactly what to select for these students in terms of skills. And I actually don't have to select my students this time because of course I started there. However, if I do want to override that, I can deselect as many as needed. Simple as that. So now that you know all the ways assignments can be created in ExactPath, you might be wondering, but what do my students actually see? So let's go ahead and take a look at the student interface. So we're now in the K through 2 ExactPath interface. Students will be notified of new activities through these pink dots that appear on screen. Assignments in this interface can be found in the From My Teacher section, My Work. So here we can see some of our upcoming assignments that are due next week. From here, students can open up the assignment and begin working in the program. Now we're looking at the grades 3 to 5 interface. We're on the home page, but once we click over to this assignments tab, we can see what we have due next week and what we've completed so far. So this is right here will be our assignments dashboard. Once we click through into one of these assignments, we'll have a tab for the lesson, the practice, as well as the quiz. Finally, I am now looking at the interface for grades 6 through 12 students. I'm logged in as an 8th grade student, Powell, and I can see this box at the very top of my active assignments with the new flashing on it. That is displaying my new assignment. We'll also find that the completion status as well as the due date are also included here in this box. So that rounds out our ExactPath assignments feature conversation. Remember that together these features help you search globally for content, build and deploy assignments, and analyze progress made to support an entire spectrum of student needs. Thanks for watching.